Puppet Warp. Hi guys, we continue to explore the possibilities of transforming functions. Puppet Warp allows you to change the position of an object or its part in space. Let's see how it works. Let's say we would like to change the position of the ballerina's hand so that it looks natural. Let's try to do it. First, we'll select a hand using the lasso tool. So I take the lasso tool and I select the hand, rather roughly like that. After that, I copy the selected area to a new layer. So, copied. And now, since we'll move the hand in space, we need to remove the hand from the lower layer, that the hand on the layer below doesn't interfere with us. We'll now close the eye icon on the upper layer, but at the same time, we'll upload our selected area. Press Ctrl and click on the layer icon. So, the selected area has uploaded. By the way, if your background is not white, this can also be done with content-aware fill, which we'll practice in subsequent lessons. And let's cancel the selection and move on to the hand movement. I turn on the eye icon. Here, let's get a little closer to the hand, so that it is clearly visible. Pressing the spacebar, I move the image, just in case you suddenly forgot how to do it. And finally, the puppet warp. Check that the layer with a hand is active. Go into Edit menu and select Puppet Warp. And look what we have got. With the help of this mesh, we'll just change the position of the hand. We must select the fixed points relative to which we will move our image. It is logical if these points roughly coincide with the joints. For example, the shoulder joint. I just click the mouse. It doesn't have to be the intersection of the line. It could be any place. This mesh allows you to better orient. Now the elbow joint and the wrist joint, for example. And now, if I start moving, then it will come from the point that I choose as active. In this case, it's my last point. Look, I press the left mouse button and move, and my hand is moving. At the same time, the points that were previously selected are motionless. But if these 2 points are not enough for me, you see, my arm is slightly shifting in the shoulder area. Then I can put another point, for example here, so that there is no movement in this place either. And look, there is no movement. You can put any number of points as you want. If I move the cursor a little outside the point and press Alt, then such a circle appears. I can do it this way. I can rotate relative to this point. You see how interesting it is. If I put some point by mistake, for example this one, I can click on it with Alt pressed, and it will be removed. Or let's put it on again. I hold down the right mouse button and select everything I need. I can edit a pin, or remove all pins, if I need to do so. Hide mesh. For example, if we choose to hide mesh, it will not distract us. You can also delete using backspace. And so, for example, I choose this point and start moving my hand. At the same time, I don't have a mesh. It doesn't distract me. If suddenly I want to return it, then I click Show Mesh in the top menu, and the mesh will be returned. By the way, this grid has different modes. Firstly, we can regulate the level of its elasticity, but it is difficult to explain. Just in the process of working, you can choose different modes and see how elastic the mesh will be. But I choose normal. The density is, of course, the density of these cells. For example, more points will create us more precise distortion. But at the same time, of course, the computer may start to slow down a little if it is not very powerful. You can also select fewer points, and then there will be very few of them. It all depends on the image you are working with. Let's put the expansion normal 2. This is the boundary beyond which the mesh extends relative to your area. The area that I selected at the very beginning and move to a new layer goes somewhere in this area. In addition, I want to tell you that you can also move not only one point, but several at once. To do this, they must be selected by holding down Shift. Let's, for example, select a few points. And, by the way, I must tell you that you can move not only manually, but also press arrows on the keyboard. For example, I am pressing the up arrow now, and the hand is going up. I press the down arrow and the hand moves down, or left or right, depending on what do you want. By the way, this method perfect if you use Photoshop to make animation. With the help of such thin targets, using the keyboard, we can change the position of the hand and create animation, as a result of which we can get separate frames with a slight offset. And in the process of creating animation, we see movement, a very useful thing. So, let me still move my hand a little more. In order to remove the selection of points, you need to hold down Shift and click on the point. Now my points are not active. Those that were selected before are not selected anymore. I remove selection from all points and choose the one that I still need. And for example, move my hand. Press Alt and for example, like this. Well, we leave it like this, and when our warp is completed, we can either press Enter or check this box. Let's do it. And that's what we got. Here I have a small flaw. Of course, you can just take the hand and move it a little bit, so that it's not visible. Well, it doesn't work. Let me press Ctrl+T and just increase my hand a little bit. Just like that, so that this transition, which I have formed, is not visible. Of course, this can be adjusted even more subtly. Well, just like that, you can do the warp again and somehow adjust it all. Use other tools. Press Ctrl+T, or rather, press Ctrl+T and then Ctrl, and move this corner, slightly advancing my hand this way. So, it seems that everything more or less coincided. And let's compare it with what we had. We have a panel called History, and we'll use it now. Window, History. It shows all the actions that we have done today. And I, for example, click on the very first line, and this is the position of our hand at the beginning. And this is the resulting position. I hope that you will easily be able to repeat all these steps. That's all I wanted to tell you today about the Puppet Warp. It was Peter Romanov and AIM School. See you next time.